The European Super League. It's time we talk about it. When I put my video out last night, I put the way I record videos when it's on my computer and stuff, it takes a little while to render. So when I recorded my video yesterday and rendered it and started uploading it and stuff like that, things had already started coming out about the European Super League. So I hadn't actually recorded anything about it in the preview for the Leeds game. What I will say is this: moving forward, depending on what happens, what the fallout is of all this, we still haven't heard anything from Jurgen Klopp yet. Jose Mourinho has been sacked from Tottenham. I'm going to turn around and say that this must have something to do with it, this Super League. I don't know what, but other than that, that's just a feeling that I have. God knows what Klopp is going to turn around and say, because he was against this idea 2 years ago in 2019. A quote of his was, "The Super League is the Champions League. The Champions League is the Super League. That is what it should be." I'm going to read through a Sky Sports article, which is some people might say it's a little bit hypocritical going through a Sky Sports article because of how Sky acquired the Premier League, in 1992 and stuff like that, and how they broke away a little bit from the EFL, or whatever, the Football League as it was known. And became the Premier League and such as it is, and now, and obviously the money that Sky has got involved, and other companies have got involved, like BT as well. Money that has been generated through, all these years in the Premier League. Yes, it can be a little bit hypocritical, but it is just an article. I will read out the whole thing, and then I'll give you my opinion. It's not something I'm impressed with, to be honest with you, from a Liverpool perspective, as a Liverpool fan. But I'm going to try and take that out and look at it as objectively as I can and try and formulate an opinion. Right. 12 of Europe's leading football clubs have announced they have agreed to establish a new midweek competition, the European Super League, governed by its founding clubs. The proposal involves the clubs forming their own competition to rival the UEFA Champions League. I'll come back to that point in a little bit, where it says to rival the Champions League. The clubs that are involved: the Premier League's big six clubs: Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham. Complete joke that Arsenal and Tottenham are involved. It's a complete joke for any of them to be involved. Honestly, God, I'm getting angry already. I'll apologise straight away, because I don't get angry on camera, don't get angry through videos very often. It's very, very rare, but it could happen today. I can't believe, I just cannot believe that this sort of stuff is being going on behind closed doors. Like, all these, what must be like, it's not backhand agreements, but it sort of is. It's behind closed doors, in the shadows sort of agreements between all these clubs, all these different club heads. The other teams that are involved: AC Milan, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Juventus, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Real Madrid and Tottenham have all joined as founding clubs. It is anticipated a further 3 clubs will join ahead of the inaugural season, which will happen as soon as it is practicable. Whatever that means, didn't even know that was a word. So there's meant to be 15 founding clubs. German giants Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund are not included, and neither are French champions PSG. All of these clubs have also come out and said they are not interested in it, they don't want anything to do with it, and that they think that it will be a negative for all of European football for it to happen. Why has this come about? This is where we're going to get the statement from the Super League statement. We're going to borrow a little bit from there, and also give a little bit of opinion from Sky Sports, which I actually agree with as well. The clubs say that the Super League comes at a time when the global pandemic has accelerated the instability in the existing European football economic model. Further, for a number of years, the founding clubs have had the objective of improving the quality and intensity of existing European competitions throughout each season, and of creating a format for top clubs and players to compete on a regular basis. The pandemic has shown that a strategic vision and sustainable commercial approach are required to enhance value and support for the benefit of the entire European football pyramid. I don't know whether they're taking into consideration all of the lower leagues of each European continent, if that's right, or even country. So say, are they, when they say the European football pyramid, are they talking literally about the Premier League, the Championship, League One, League Two, etc.? And then are they talking about Ligue 1 and Ligue 2 in France, if that is how you say it, might be right. And then maybe any lower leagues under that. And then Bundesliga 1, Bundesliga 2, I think Bundesliga 3, maybe. Same thing. La Liga, whatever their one is called. Are they saying that they're going to provide what was it? Support for the benefit of the entire European football pyramid. Is that what they mean? Are they supporting all of that? Because to be honest, that sounds good. If you're going to support all of the pyramids, like from grassroots football in every country, that sounds great. I don't think that's what they mean. The Sky Sports reporter, I think he's called Sky Cave on Twitter, Cave Solhekol. I keep saying it is about money, and if you look at the finances, we're going to take Manchester United playing in the Champions League as an example. They make between 40 to 80 million pounds on a good year if they win it. If they play in this new competition, they get a check for 250 million to 300 or 250 to 300 million to begin with. Then in the future, they will get 3 times as much money a season as they get from the Champions League. So if you go with a base of, say, 80 million, right, that you get from Champions League, and that's if you win it, right? Then if you make 3 times that, that's 240 million. It's a no-brainer for these guys to start this because they want to keep making so much money. Quote, you are looking at 200 to 250 million pound in TV rights. They will be able to sell some of the rights to the games themselves on their own channels, the broadcast rights all over the world. They will literally control every single sector of this. So every single like broadcast rights, you could use like for Liverpool, LFC TV. They could broadcast from there and turn it into a subscription. It is a subscription anyway, but turn it into a much more comprehensive one, making them more money. What does this mean for the Champions League? Now, the quote earlier was, let me just get it properly. The proposal involves the clubs forming their own competition to rival the Champions League. Now, here it says, if the Super League goes ahead, it would effectively replace the Champions League. Bit different. And I think any of us that are involved in the Champions League or have been involved in the Champions League, us having won it in 2019, we've got a storied history. We are the most successful team in the Premier League. In the Champions League, we have 6 of them. We've won it 6 times. And how great that was. How wonderful that was. That entire journey. The game against Barcelona. To just mention one. The game against Barcelona. The game against Tottenham where we ended up actually winning it. Having a cult hero be born in Divock Origi. Incredible. So we'll go on from here. Sunday's developments came just 24 hours before UEFA were due to discuss proposed Champions League reforms. The reforms were seen as an attempt to reach a compromise with the clubs in favour of a breakaway competition by offering them more matches. The reforms were planned to come into effect in 2024, expanding the Champions League to 36 teams, adjusting the format and increasing the number of matches from 125 to 225. Jesus Christ, you're going to get 100 more matches. The reforms were intended to favour the clubs central to the Super League and even included a safety net of 4 qualification spots for clubs based on their past performance in European competition should they miss out on qualification to a domestic competition. But it seems the reforms do not go far enough for Europe's biggest clubs. Now, the format. This is the proposed format for the Super League. Teams will be placed into 2 groups of 10 because there's meant to be 20 in this Super League. Teams will play each other home and away in their groups, followed by a knockout stage. All games will be played in midweek, and the competition will run from August 1 year into May the next. 12 founding clubs with 3 more anticipated. The 15 founding clubs will govern the tournament, and 5 other teams will have to qualify each season. Oh my god! So what will happen is, this is just ridiculous. So the likes of City, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham can never be relegated from this. They never have to qualify. They're just in it because we are a founding club. And 5 other teams will have to qualify. But how do they qualify? The Super League is a new competition between 20 top clubs comprised of 15 founders and 5 annual qualifiers. Annual qualifiers, but how? Following the group stage, games will be played midweek, blah, 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 blah. 20, they will qualify annually. They will qualify, right. 5 teams will go through a qualifying mechanism for a further 5 teams to qualify annually based on achievements in the prior season. Midweek fixtures, participating clubs, blah, blah, blah. Would the league be a closed shop? One of the immediate points of criticism, if not the major point, is that only 5 of the clubs in this 20-strong competition would enter based on sporting achievement. As outlined above, the other 15 clubs, the so-called founding clubs, have their participation and guaranteed. This is the whole thing about sport, and why sport is beautiful in its purest form, is that it is sporting achievement and sporting merit is something that is respected. And it's the basis of pretty much every sport. Pretty much every sport. You could argue in combat sports, maybe less so. Sometimes it's more about big money fights and stuff like that, and maybe not necessarily someone getting to that spot like a title shot on sporting merit, but it's quite rare, in my opinion. That's like Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. That's a sporting merit fight between the two of those guys. They're quite clearly, the best at what they do. One might be better than the other. Your opinion, you can have that opinion by yourself. That's absolutely fine. No worries. But that's a sporting merit fight. Those two are coming together to see who is the best out of those two currently. Maybe the same for the UFC. There's going to be some good fights coming up as well. Most of those, apart from like when Conor McGregor gets involved, that's all about money. But when you've got 15 clubs that already class themselves as founding clubs, they never have to qualify for this competition that is effectively replacing the Champions League, that is going to make them so much money. There's no sporting merit there. There's no sporting achievement. Okay, you go and win it. Maybe you get a bit more of a cash prize, a bit more of a prize pool. But there's no merit to it. There's nothing. It's just so dubious. How would the league be financed? JP Morgan. Oh my God. JP Morgan. I think that's who Ed Woodward used to work for. Guy from Manchester United. About 5 billion. Jesus Christ. In their own announcement, the breakaway clubs state the founding clubs will receive an amount of 3.5 billion solely to support the infrastructure, investment plans, and to offset the impact of the COVID pandemic. I thought that's what the LeBron James thing was all about for Liverpool. That was like that 535 million was meant to offset COVID, and that sounded all right. It didn't mean we were going to go mental in the transfer market. But 3.5 billion for each club? What happens next? Going forward, the founding clubs say they look forward to holding discussions with UEFA and FIFA to work together in partnership to deliver the best outcomes for the new league and for football as a whole. That's not the objective of these guys. How realistic is this? This does feel significant. We've been here before, project big picture, but what feels different this time is the level of planning and what might or might not have been signed. We'll come to that in a second. The reactions of the Premier League, UEFA, and other European leagues, it shows just how much it threatens the integrity of domestic and European leagues. People could take it the other way and say that UEFA, the Premier League, and other domestic leagues around the Europe, they could say, well, they're all threatened, they're all scared of losing their big teams. But Richard Masters, the Premier League chief executive, says, I cannot envisage any scenario where such permission would be granted, where clubs would need the approval of the associations who govern the domestic competitions to join an unsanctioned breakaway league. What would the ramifications be? Potentially huge. Under Premier League rule L.9, which all 20 clubs sign up to, clubs must obtain prior written approval of the board if they wish to enter to anything other than the Champions League, Europa League, FA Cup, Community Shield, or Carabao Cup, or any other competition sanctioned by the county association. Any player whose club agrees to join an unsanctioned competition risks not playing in any UEFA or FIFA competition, including the European Championships, which is this summer, and the World Cup next year. In January, FIFA had said that a breakaway league would not be recognised and that any club or player involved in such a competition would, as a consequence, not be allowed to participate in any competition organised by FIFA or their respective confederation. Let's break it down to what it actually is, because this is going to be near the end of the video. All this is just a cash grab. It's just a cash grab. The biggest teams out of all their leagues, and respect to the likes of Bayern Munich, Dortmund, PSG, Porto, I think as well, have come out and said that they're not involved in it. They don't want to be involved in it, and I'm pretty sure a good couple of other clubs as well, if not quite a few clubs, have said they don't want to be involved in it. They don't like it. The integrity of football, like, we've all dreamed. I'll tell you straight away. I dreamed of being Steven Gerrard. I dreamed of being that guy that could run through midfield and could score a 40-yard banger. I didn't fulfill my dream because I wasn't good enough. I'm not good enough as an actual football player. That dream could be taken away from so many because of something like this. It just doesn't seem like something where, I don't know, it just has so many ramifications against everything else, everything that we know. Now, people might turn around and say that, well, that's just, that's a traditionalist viewpoint. And it's not. People know my opinions of the FA Cup. Anyone that's ever, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, everyone knows my opinion of them whenever Liverpool are involved in those competitions. They're not my priority. The priority is the Premier League and the Champions League, and to go for those as hard as possible. If you can get an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup or something like that, then fair play, that's great. I just don't understand. I do understand. It's club owners that have come together and decided we have enough money as it is right now. We aren't allowed to use our money and earn as much money as we can. This is purely just a way to maximize profits and squeeze every ounce of money that they can in any way that they can. I don't think, and I was speaking to a friend of mine at work today. He's a Sunderland fan, through and through. He's been a Sunderland fan all his life, for all his life. It'll be over 40 years. And obviously, anyone that knows Sunderland, you know what their team's been about for the last couple of years. They've really struggled. They're in League One at the moment. They're looking like they're in the playoffs. And they look at something like this, and they just go, it's just greed. It is just pure greed. The knock-on, they say that they're going to support all aspects of football. I don't see it. I see it as they want this to be like the NFL, like the NBA, where, all right, the competition's good and all this sort of stuff, but no one gets relegated, no one gets promoted. There's no real competition aspect. It's just so disappointing. It's so disappointing. And especially, I don't want to say especially as a Liverpool fan, but Gary Neville was right in some ways. I didn't agree with everything that he said. when he was talking about Liverpool. But Liverpool was meant to be about the people. It was meant to be about. Some people don't like this term, but it was meant to be about the common person, the guy that goes to work, works maybe a 9 to 5 or whatever, works a factory job or whatever it might be. Comes home and supports his club, goes watches Liverpool, watches them on the TV, or is a season ticket holder and goes and watches them at Anfield. Maybe goes and watches them away as well. It was meant to be about that. And if it's so sad. Honestly, it's so sad. It's so sad. These are not the morals that this club was built on. It just isn't. I will tell you now, not that it's going to be a huge thing, but if the Super League goes ahead and Liverpool get kicked out of every other competition, because that's another potential thing here, is that all of these 12 clubs, as far as we know, I'll say the Premier League clubs as well, they've all resigned from the ECA. The ECA is pretty much, I think, the governing body for European competition, like Champions League and the Europa League. They've all resigned from it. What that means, as far as I've seen, is that we can't participate in the Champions League and the Europa League next season and beyond. So what's the point in us finishing this season? What's the point in us playing Leeds tonight? And then if it all goes tits up and things don't work out, and you do get kicked out of the Premier League, what happens? You go back to the 9th tier of football, or 10th tier of football, whichever the lowest of the low is. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. You go back and you work your way back up. If that scenario happens, this channel isn't ending. It's just going to be a Premier League based channel. It'll be so hard to do. I wouldn't follow. I don't know whether I would follow Liverpool, because it's not the club that I've grown up as. Like, I'm a 33-year-old guy. It's not the club that I grew up as recognizing. It just isn't. If they go ahead and do something like this, and as I say, I just want to have a quick check on my iPad just below my phone here. I just want to have a quick check and see if there has been any comments from Liverpool or anything like that. I don't think there has, so I'm going to leave it there for now. But Carragher has apparently made a couple of comments. I'm just going to read these and then I'll get out of here for this one. Let me see what Carragher has said. What an embarrassment we've become, LFC. Think of all the people who have come before us at this club who would be equally embarrassed as well. Yeah, there's a couple of player quotes as well. Bakary Sagna. I think I'll stop watching football because the football I know is not football anymore. Micah Richards has called it an absolute disgrace. Roy Keane, again, says it comes down to money and greed. Neville, Manchester United fan, and I have been for 40 years, but is disgusted, absolutely disgusted. We have to wrestle back power. The motivation is greed. Deduct them all points tomorrow. Put them at the bottom of the league and take the money off them. It's criminal. It's a criminal act against football fans in this country. Deduct points, deduct money, and punish them all. Sounds harsh, but this isn't going to go away. There's going to be developments on this, and I don't know what they're going to be. But how serious it sounds, and the things that have been signed, like signing out of the ECA and stuff like that, and I think Ed Woodward has resigned from his role in UEFA, or whatever his role was there. Doesn't look good. It looks serious. I don't know what the ramifications are going to be. We're just going to have to sit on it and find out. It's not going to be a good time. I will do a reaction for the Leeds game, maybe tomorrow, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I want to see what Klopp's comments are, if he has any, and I'm sure that he would. These aren't hollow words. You'll never walk alone. And I firmly believe in those words, those 4 words, those 4 letters. You'll never walk alone. This is just a sad day for football, in my opinion.